here is a true cold start, because literally I have not started my car in like about, what, 3 to 4 days? Because I've been out in Vegas. Nevertheless, what are we doing today? Oh yeah, let me show you guys what we got going on today. Oh man, I got spider web, like a legit full spider web right here. What's up with my guy? Oh yeah, he gotta go. Y'all see car parts right here? Lowering springs, rear sway bar is going down. Hello. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing really well.
Are you CJ?
Yes, I'm CJ. All right, so we have made it to my location. I was like, y'all know, 5 minutes late, but hey, that's life. That's how it goes, you know what I mean? We need one last look at stock height, right? As you guys will see. I don't know, y'all comment down below. What do you think about this height? Do you guys feel like the stock height that I'm at right now is like just fine with the tires and wheels that I have? Or do you feel like we need to lower this? Now, I've seen some people say, hey, you need lowering springs. I had a couple comments like that, and I was just like, relax, boys. Like, I already had the ST suspension springs. So those are like one of the first parts that I actually purchased was the lowering springs, which is crazy. I've been sitting on those for a minute. The rear sway bar I decided to get, because I'm just like, well, if we're gonna have the car already taken apart doing suspension, we might as well put in the rear sway bar and knock that out. So I think the next thing I wanna do is audio. That's just something I need for me personally. And then, I mean, we can't do much performance yet because there isn't much on the performance side.
Anything else?
That's it?
All right.
Should be it.
What did you have before this?
I had a GTI.
Okay.
I had a Mach 6 GTI 2013. I originally wanted the Golf R when I got the GTI. I just wasn't there yet. Oh, got an STI. What are you guys doing to this? Rebuild or? I was almost in the WRX STI. I was shopping one like 2 years ago. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna wait for the new platform. And then the new platform came and I didn't like the new platform. There you go. So when it comes to springs, usually the front is the most complicated and rear is probably the more easier side, right?
Volkswagen on the Golf has this nice multi-link setup. Mm-hmm. We have a whole bunch of different arms. You have the weight of the vehicle being supported by the spring on a lower control arm with a separate strut body. It makes it fairly easy to service.
Gotcha.
Whereas in the front, you have kind of a classic McPherson setup where you have a strut body with a spring attached to it supporting the weight of the vehicle. So this is essentially the entire load-bearing member. And then a singular lower control arm.
Right.
And the knuckle. So they're less pieces, but honestly, it's more work to take apart.
Rear springs are off. Boom and boom. You can see the stock EndLinks and rear sway bar right there.
So when you picked up this car, was your first thought just going straight to what am I gonna do with it?
I picked this car up and I'm like, you know, I want to do content, right? You know, first people to get out here and just like do some things to it.
Definitely a little increase in beefiness there. And the collar's built into it so it doesn't move around. The main difference between going softer and harder is just spring rate. Mm-hmm. So you're effectively shortening the lever on the spring by moving the end link closer in, which means that the amount of force that you're able to put on it is a little bit less. So it goes from stiffer, which means there's going to be even less roll side to side, or a little bit softer, which be a little bit more supple. Anytime that you have one wheel moving up
Right.
or the other wheel moving down, it's still going to twist that bar and you're still going to have that stiffness apply. So like even just like driving over a bump in the road,
Gotcha.
it's still going to push that sway bar, so you're still going to have all that stiffness happening.
You're feeling that pothole or whatever that much more.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I like quick cars that work. It's just, in my opinion, it's really more often than not stock cars that work better for me.
Do you see people come in, go crazy on mods, and then like end up regretting it after, or like they feel like they went too far because of what they thought, and then it wasn't what they believed or expected in the end?
I don't know that people like to admit to it.
Oh, right.
It is going to be pretty challenging to change height once it's installed. 'Cause this is actually going to become the upper spring seat.
Okay.
So it's going to be tough
All the way in there, huh?
Especially living in the city, driving like stop sign to stop sign. Sometimes you'll see people and it's like, you just went through 3 stop signs and you never looked up.
Crazy.
You never looked up.
Crazy. So by changing and putting new bolts on there, you're ensuring like a more secure fit?
It came with some new bolts. It was saying to reuse the original
Okay.
Volkswagen nuts.
Gotcha.
And I know I've got some good quality ones over there.
All right, sweet.
So might as well put some torque on some new fasteners.
Sweet.
As opposed to reusing some that Volkswagen typically says don't reuse. Volkswagen definitely wants you to replace fasteners.
Got it.
All the time.
Time to see what the front has in store for you, huh?
Mm-hmm. You know, there's no service information really out for these yet. So it's like, let's see what we're gonna get. Every manufacturer that sells a car in the United States has to allow access to their vehicle information.
Right.
Typically, you have to pay for that. Mm-hmm. And most manufacturers, it's not inexpensive.
Right now, what are you figuring out, like the sizing or like the
Yeah,
lowering?
I was just trying to decide where to set it since you have to take it all the way back apart to adjust it. So you have more adjustment range in the front than you do in the back. We're 3 millimeters beneath the max spec in the back. So I'm just gonna say let's try 6 millimeters in the front above or below the max spec. And hopefully it sits fairly level.
All right. And this is what we were talking about, the math on our front. Yeah, I've never lowered a car. I'm not sure like how to really convert the millimeters to visual and how it goes. Obviously we want, you know, as leveled of a ride as we can get. And as he said, you have to make these adjustments on the front now because otherwise you have to take the entire, you know, assembly apart. So, man, he did some math. We'll see where the math lands us. As he said, at worst case scenario, a little slight front tilt, but we'll see.
Well, it's having us replace, this is the upper spring mount, but it's also the bearing that the strut turns on as you turn the wheels back and forth. And just seeing how they're having us transfer some of these original parts back over so that they continue to work. And it looks like they've actually got it set up so it should work. So it's saying transfer the original bellows boot over, and it's like, well, how is that going to stay in there? The mechanism that was holding it before isn't there. They built something in there so that you can do that. It's actually, I like that a lot.
These springs are turning out so far so good.
Yeah, it's been a pretty quality kit so far. Put this TÜV certification means that it passes Germany's rigorous like safety and quality standards.
Okay.
Because they are way more concerned about the quality of parts on vehicles going out on the road. So like anything that gets done has to be TÜV certified.
Okay.
And to be TÜV certified requires actually a pretty high level of quality.
Okay.
So
sweet.
That's not a bad thing. There's nothing like the feeling that you're saving money, and then you get done and realize you got to pay twice as much as you got to do it a second time.
Exactly. That's like my motto. A lot of times it's better to just go ahead and pay the premium up front so you don't pay it later. That's actually really comforting and good to know that these ST suspension springs, like I said, these are way more expensive in comparison to like the typical that I see most Mach 8 owners grabbing. Like they're just grabbing like the Racing Line or the Neuspeeds, which are all great quality products, but they're a lot cheaper of an option, and also they're not compatible with the current DCC suspension, which these are, which is the biggest reason why I chose to go with them, because I'm able to maintain the DCC, you know, if I so choose to use it or need it. Although I'm normally in race mode, a little more stiffer. It's really not that stiff though.
Precision eyeball right there. Everything's good.
Sweet. Man, it's gonna suck like years from now when we are all electric and this is no longer the sound, dude. I don't know. Have you driven a Tesla or anything? Have you?
I have not driven a Tesla. I have driven a few other electric vehicles.
Okay.
I think my favorite experience with one as of yet is an older Mercedes Smart for 2 electric. It was very go-karty.
Yeah, okay.
Very small.
Electric and hybrids have that go-karty feel, right? To my car enthusiasts out there that love the sound and the rumble of their engine, how do you feel about an all-electric car world? Yes, electric cars are fast. Yes, they have the torque. But there's also something about that sound. That sound. I don't know. Because coilovers are not, it's not a cheap game.
It's not a cheap game.
Yeah.
And like the other thing about coilovers that you end up bringing into the mix is the strut top on your vehicle has a pretty thick, large rubber insulator built into it.
Yeah.
Most of the time with a coilover, you have a spherical bearing on top. There's no give there whatsoever, which is good if you're in a situation where you're trying to eliminate as much flex as possible.
Right.
But if you're in any way trying to still keep creature comforts, then you've got to take all of that secondary dampening that's doing and apply it into the actual functioning of the dampener itself.
Right.
So now, you have that secondary dampening that the rubber's providing, but now you have to have valving to work in a high speed and low speed environment to try and keep that same level of like finite suppleness.
Yeah.
Where just a couple of millimeters of flex in a rubber strut top body can give you that. So it's trade-offs.
Right.
It's like, it's what direction are you trying to perform in? Are you trying to be comfortable? Are you trying to track it?
Yeah.
And you got to weigh those options.
All right, what is up, Unplugged fam? I literally need to go home. I need to wash my car. Like, my car is filthy. I know it's raining. I'm probably gonna look like a weirdo for washing my car in the rain, but I have to wash this car. This car's just been sitting since I got a ceramic coat. I wanna see what that ceramic coat do. So, no matter how people look at me or judge me for washing my car in the rain, I'm going to wash my car in the rain. Today turned out to be a success. At first, it was looking a little rocky with the rear because it wasn't dropping. That's because the parking brake engaged. So once we got the parking brake to disengage, it just came down, and the back is looking beautiful. The front, we're waiting on to settle a little bit more to see where we end up. And if it doesn't, like, you know, fully settle where I need to have it, then we're gonna readjust it. So I already set an appointment for June just in case. But we'll see how it goes though. We'll see how everything is. All in all, man, Zach was super informative. I know you guys learned something, unless you don't know it all, but I learned a lot. I don't know everything when it comes to this car stuff, and I'm cool with that. And that's my whole point of this journey, just learning as I go. Like, you know, not everyone has the opportunity to work on and mod vehicles and stuff like that. Or, you know, not everyone will. So, you know, it is what it is. As you can see, the back has a very aggressive lowering. Now when it comes to the front, it's not as aggressive. And I'm probably gonna go back at the end of June so that way I can get this more aggressively lowered. So that way it kind of matches the rear. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to do that.
I went from LA to the A on the run, you can tell where I stay.